Hello, welcome to our first official episode on Imani's Way. Today we have a very special guest, Samira, also known as Juicing with Samira. She gave us some great juices to try out here on our first episode, and she's going to let you know a little bit about her business along the way. So, first we have our shot. What's in it, Samira?
Hey guys, I'm Samira and I am here representing my business today. Thank you for having me, sis.
No problem.
So here we're going to start off with a hibiscus and ginger shot. This is really good for blood circulation, immunity, and inflammation.
Okay, I'm excited to try.
Cheers.
Do I just take the whole thing, one shot?
Yeah.
Okay.
Cheers.
Cheers. That was really good.
I went light today.
So tell me, how did you start this business and when did you start your business?
So I actually started juicing with Samira during the pandemic in 2020. And I feel like what really pushed me to share this goodness with the world was COVID. And my whole family actually fell sick from COVID. And the only thing that helped them get better was drinking juices and boosting immunity naturally. And I also grew up seeing my father go through a lot of health issues, and there was never really like a holistic approach to helping him heal his issues. And this kind of drove me to bring holistic health to our community and bring awareness on healing and that it's possible. A lot of people think that, they're diagnosed with something and that's the ultimatum, but there is an alternative way to heal yourself through nutrition.
Oh, very good. So what do we have next? I like this one. I like the color. Tell us a little bit about this one.
Okay, so that is my hibiscus punch. The hibiscus punch consists of hibiscus, ginger, Ceylon cinnamon, apples, and cloves. So that is a herbal elixir, and it is sweetened with gala apple and agave. It's very good for boosting immunity, for blood circulation. It's good for inflammation, digestive health.
She knows what all these taste like. I'm trying for the first time.
That kind of tastes like autumn in a cup.
Autumn in a cup. You're right. I do like this a lot, actually.
What do you feel like you taste first?
Cinnamon?
Okay.
Is there cinnamon in it?
Yeah.
Yeah? Oh, wow. I didn't even look. So that's good. So touching on your father's health, do you think that you could have essentially helped with his health with these juices?
Most definitely. I actually grew up in a household where we were very conscious of our eating because of all of his health issues. So my mom did make green juices and she would make her concoctions, but they didn't really taste good. So then I became motivated to want to make something healthy taste good. And that was also why I started my brand.
So you just started doing your own research and Googling and then setting up your lab in your house?
Yeah.
Until you got it, perfected it?
Yeah, I was looking up things that are good for immunity, fertility, PCOS. Most women have PCOS and hormonal imbalances. I actually had PCOS growing up, so they try to give me meds for different things at a very young age instead of just telling me to change my diet and to incorporate natural remedies. So I kind of just started to branch off of that.
So tell us more about your dad living with health issues in the house. He was at the hospital frequently. Was he born with health issues? Was it because of his old age? How did that come about?
So, my dad, all of my dad's illnesses developed, and they were kind of just like a domino effect of one thing to another. So that actually started with cholesterol. And that's something that a lot of people have, high cholesterol. So that means high levels of fat in your blood. And that's usually caused by eating really greasy foods, fatty foods, not real whole foods. So it was definitely a hardship, being in and out of the hospitals all year, like all year we were in the hospitals, very very unstable. And it was hard because I'm an only child, and when one person was down, we were all, that all threw us off. That threw my mom and I's balance off in the house. So yeah, it wasn't easy, but I feel like I have a purpose, and the purpose is to help people like become aware of, healing. I didn't see all of that for nothing. We didn't go through all of that for nothing, because whatever he went through, we went through with him. So I had to flip that pain and put it into like
business.
into a business.
So you're saying your business did start from your dad, and I don't know if you want to talk about it, but your dad's passing, that had a lot to do with you putting your best foot forward and really getting into this business and making a difference, because now you can help someone else not get to that point, essentially.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a big eye opener when I started my business, because once I started to like extend my research about, just healing, it was very encouraging, but it was also like discouraging to know that I can help everyone else, but I couldn't help him. I was also younger when he passed, so I really couldn't have probably done or had like a big influence on his health anyways. But, you know, now that I actually take the time to like read through all the like medical records and what he actually had, I'm like, wow, there is a solution for all of
So
these
you
things.
have all that, all his records, and you go through it?
Yeah. Like my mom was like his assistant. Like my mom knew everything about his health. And since both of my parents were first gen, like immigrants that came to the United States for like a better life, I'm a first gen. My parents didn't really speak that much English, so I had to translate at a young age. So I kind of got exposed to everything so soon.
What nationality were both of your parents?
My mom is Ecuadorian and my dad's Egyptian.
That's a crazy combination. You got a big culture on both ends. So
Yeah.
I obviously always see you embrace both cultures equally. Like, how do you balance all that? You never forgot either one. Like most, lean more towards one side than the other, but you make sure and make it your business to equally do both. What made you like never fall off with either one? Is it because they were both equally in your life, like as important people?
Yeah, I feel like since I grew up with both of my parents, it was very equal. Like, down to like my plates. Like I would have
Clashing ever?
yeah. I would have like a little bit of my mom's food, a little bit of my dad's food. So there was always like a big mix in the cultures. And both of them didn't really speak that much English, so they spoke like broken English to each other. Yeah.
That's insane. Was it ever like a clash on rules? Because essentially they both have different upbringings, so they both believe in different things. Like, how did they raise you in a way where they instilled both rules, and like didn't step on each other's toes?
That's funny. So because both of my parents were Christian, different branches of Christianity. Like my mom was Catholic, my dad is Coptic Orthodox, so both fall in the Christian realm. So because of that, they kind of had a common ground and, believed in the same things. But, people from Africa or the Middle East of that descent are very conservative, very strict. And then on the Spanish side, we're very like loose, like we're like, we don't really care too much about things. Yeah, like
Dancing.
a lot of all of that, the complete opposite of conservative.
Right.
So, I grew up like I still have that attitude where like, okay, where I'm around everyone else, I don't care. But the second I'm around the Arabs, I'm like, I close off. I know I have to like.
That must have been difficult, because I know it was hard in your house. Like, no, you do this, but you're like, my mom lets me do this, and it's like a little bit of back and forth. But talking about your dad, I know because I've been your friend forever. He was such a big part of your life. Take us to that day. How was it for you? I know you seen him go to the hospital that day. Like, what were your feelings? I know you had a lot of intuition. Like, what were you going through that day?
So I actually woke up like I knew something was happening. Like I woke up that day and everything was just, I just knew something was going to happen to my dad. I woke up, I didn't want to leave his sight. I started to post up prayer, Bible quotes. I never do stuff like that. And I had an appointment on the same day that it took me 3 months to get. So I had my mom and my boyfriend try to like convince me to go and not miss the appointment.
What was the appointment for?
For the orthopedic, because I have like, at the time I had some injuries, and I took a leave from work and I needed to go to that appointment to get excused to return back to work with restrictions. So it was a very important appointment, but on that day I did not want to go to the appointment. I did not want to leave my dad's sight.
Granted, he was going to the hospital a lot of times, so this could have easily been like
Any other
just
time.
any other time, but you knew. A kid knows.
Yeah, you know, he was there regularly. So anytime that we had to like run an errand, my mom and I would just leave, come back. You know, sometimes if he was sleeping, we wouldn't say bye to him because we knew we were coming back to him. But that day I just did not want to leave, and everyone convinced me to leave. Yeah, basically we went to the hospital at 5 a.m. His health started to decline, and when we left for the appointment, 2 hours had passed. I went to get some food after the appointment because I was up all night, up all day, without eating. So I got a bite, and something just made me want to call him. And I was calling him and calling him, probably like 20 calls, and he didn't answer. I thought that was so strange. Like I left everything set up for him to hear his phone ring. So once I didn't get an answer, I called Jersey City Medical Center, and the nurse that answered the phone didn't mute the call. So when she was asking about him to someone else, I heard them say, he like no, like they're not accepting visitors for him. So I started
That
to
was
panic.
alarming, right?
Yeah, because I'm like, what's going on? I was just there 2 hours ago. Then they hang up on me. I call again. Once they realized that it was me calling again, they just kept hanging up. Then they stopped answering. I called my mom. We rushed over there. And as we were walking into the hospital, like when we were walking into the ER, we saw like a whole bunch of nurses and doctors running to where he was. And we met them in the middle. And they were reviving him in that moment when we walked in. So it was it was a crazy day that never stops replaying. But yeah, they revived him. They tried to revive him and failed, but they weren't trying to tell us the progress. So, we didn't know what was going on. We didn't know how much time passed since he didn't get oxygen to his brain. Because after a few minutes, you turn into a vegetable. So after 2-3 minutes of no oxygen to your brain, you're basically brain dead. We didn't know at the time how long he's been out, and they weren't trying to disclose any information. So they tubed him up, and we've seen him tubed up before. So we really didn't think anything of it.
You never do.
We didn't think that was that moment until 24 hours passed. They did a few exams to prove, to test to see if his brain had activity or not. And the next morning they told us, like, he's 100% dependent on the life support, basically saying he's already dead. So he died that day before. And that was when I had to make that choice to turn him off. My mom...
It was their decision?
Yeah. My mom wanted to wait. She just had hope. Oh, let's pray to God. And I'm like, girl, like, we can only pray so much when they're telling us he's 100% dependent. Like, there's no way to pray around that. Then we had to make the choice, and we pulled the plug. And 6 years later, that has pushed me forward to really try to help people. As he dealt with so much. And like I said, it wasn't just him. We dealt with that as well. We had to face those long nights, just seeing him like go through pain. We felt that too. So it was a lot. But yeah, there's no way to
Prepare yourself.
prepare yourself for that.
How old were you at that age?
I was 18 and I turned 19 the next month. So he died actually a month before my birthday. And yeah, there's really no order in how to heal from that. You just have to like feel your emotions out and really feel them. Like I said, you can't bottle them up or avoid them, especially something big like that. Like,
Especially you being at a very young age, you're still figuring your own life. And then you have all the responsibilities because I know that your mom is also older as well. So now you have that on top of it. So, what kind of advice could you give someone that is honestly, this could go to anybody, young, old, because whatever age you lose your parent, it doesn't hurt any less. So, what advice could you give to someone that is just going through losing a parent?
um, to really feel your emotions and not not rush the process. It's supposed to suck, it's supposed to hurt, and just accept, like just accept. And that was something that I didn't really do when that happened. So I just couldn't understand. I
You were
couldn't.
just angry at the world?
Yeah, I was angry at the world. And I thought that there was like a timeline to feel better, and there really isn't. You just have to feel it out. Like 6 years later, it's still like I still get this knot in my throat when I talk about him because there's really no like time frame for that.
Right. But your story is literally something to be talked about because not only have you started your own juicing, but you also did your own fitness and you threw yourself in the gym. That helped with your mental health. Did that, relieve you in any way?
Yeah, I was just looking for whatever outlet to make me feel better, and working out definitely helped release a lot of tension and anger. There would be times where I would be at the gym crying, like picking up heavy ass weights, and I'm just like crying, and that pain like fueled me to keep working out, and um, you know, eating healthy made me feel better. Whenever I eat junk, I felt like it took like an even bigger emotional toll on me and my feelings. So all of those all of those things definitely helped a lot.
Not only you are plant-based. How long have you been plant-based now?
So it'll be 6 years in May. Um, and I actually went plant-based a few months after my dad passed away, because around that time I was dealing with injuries and I was like severely inflamed. And I met a herbalist that told me that I had to cut off all the foods that cause the inflammation to feel better. I was very desperate at the time because I was so young and restricted from doing basic things like standing up for hours or running. And them just like the doctors telling me like, yeah, you can't do this anymore. And I didn't like allow anyone to tell me what my life was going to be. Like no one was able to determine that for me. So, out of in the moment of despair, that was when I kind of said, I'll do whatever to feel better. And I haven't turned back since. There's multiple reasons why I also went plant-based. Like I just ethically, I'm a vegan for the animals, but um, it definitely has a lot to do with the healing part too.
Okay. But you are one of the strongest people I know because not only did you go through that, but you also went through something recently, which was a house fire, which is your home that you've been in since what age you've been in that home?
Well, my aunts owned that house for like 50 years. That's been our family's house for like 50 years. So I've practically lived there my whole life. Even when I didn't live there, I lived there.
Right.
Yeah.
So how was that? Because I know you called me one day and I'm like, what? So how was that day? It was just like any other day, right?
Yeah, it was a Monday, April 15th. Um, I was at work. I took my lunch break. I used to live a few blocks away from my job. So I would go home on my break. And it was a regular day. I just went home. I made myself lunch, had some juice, fed my cats, and then left. Less than an hour later, my mom is blowing up my phone. At that moment, it was very busy at work, so I didn't answer her first few calls. But then I saw her persistency, and I was like, "Let me call her back." And she's screaming like the house is on fire. I run to the back to my boss. I tell them, and then I run out. I literally live like 4 blocks away, so I got there like a minute after I got that call, and it was a sight to see. Like the where the flames were coming out of, where's like our apartment, my room specifically is where the fire started. Um, and yeah, it was a total loss. Like all of our possessions got, lost to the fire. And in the moment, all I could think about was my cats. I have 2 cats. Girl, those are my kids, okay? My 2 cats, my babies, my babies. And my cousin that lived downstairs had 3 cats. So there was a total of 5 cats in the house. All I could think about was the cats. And I was very frustrated because there was so many firefighters in front of the house just talking. And I'm like, okay, is anyone upstairs? Are you guys aware that there's 5 animals in the house? And they were just very chill. So I was like, I was being a little hostile.
Wait, you said something that was so funny. You go, give me your uniform so I can do your job for you.
Yes, because like I felt like there was no sense of urgency. Like, who's gonna help save my cats? Like, do I have to go up there myself? Because I was ready to lose it all.
Give me
Yeah,
your uniform.
I was ready to lose it all. I'm telling you, like what, you know? And thankfully, all 5 cats got retrieved and safely. My cats were the ones that were directly affected by the fire since the fire took place in our apartment. The 3 other cats like jumped out of the back window, so they didn't really like inhale any of the smoke. But my 2 cats ended up getting asthma from that.
The fire started in your room, right?
Yeah, they said it was like a short circuit. So like it was an old house, so possibly, the wire that was connected to that outlet wasn't old, but I would suppose it was probably like the house or and yeah, it was crazy. I was just home an hour before and I come home and I don't have a home. Like, what the fuck is going on?
And not only like your possessions, but I know you told me there was also like things you can't replace because everyone always says it's like materialistic things you can replace it, but there was some sentimental things in there. What were they?
Like I lost all of my baby pictures. I had, like, if you know me, I had boxes of baby pictures. Like, we had photographers in our family. So years, every single holiday in a year, documented for like 20 years of my life. All of that is gone. My dad's clothes, like my dad's stuff, we didn't get rid of it when he passed. And, just other like sentimental things, like my grandma's stuff, like that we still had. There was just, so many things that money really can't buy. And yeah, definitely grateful that no one got hurt. And, our life is what matters the most, but those things make our life go round too. So it definitely sucked to lose those things. And it's still a journey. It's about to be a year and 2 months. And I'm still like in shock that all this time has just passed. When in that moment, I couldn't see past that moment. Like, I didn't know what was going to happen after, how I was going to start my business again. I invested so much money a month before the fire on supplies. Like, I restocked stuff. Like, I bought so many things that you can't even imagine. And all of that burned. My juicer, everything. In that moment, I thought my business is over. That was all I kept thinking to myself.
Did you want to give up? Was it a thought and like, I'm just gonna give up?
Yeah, a part of me did think that, this was like the end of it. And then there was no way around that. How am I ever going to start again? Like, how can I think of starting that when I have to think of replacing my whole life? Like, that wasn't my priority at the moment. My priority was like getting clothes to sleep in, like a toothbrush, like things that that we take for granted or we don't know are commodities until we don't have them. So that was really like my main priority until, everyone was just so supportive. I got so much support and so much love during that time that I'm like eternally grateful for it because I didn't see past that.
Your whole community banded together and helped you out, right?
Like donation classes, donation workout classes, yoga classes, like fundraisers, a GoFundMe. Like, everyone was just reposting it every day, making it a post too, not just on their story. At my job, they made flyers of the GoFundMe and they started to give it out to people. And, friends like you and so many other people that I was very grateful for to come and bring clothes and bring like basic stuff like soap and
things you don't even think about.
Things that you don't even think you need until you don't have them. So that was very humbling. And I was already like, my family comes from humble beginnings, so I never thought that I was too good for anything to begin with. But when that happened, that was just like that was that test in that moment. Like, are you really humble? Like, what really matters?
Mm-hmm.
You know? So, through tragedy, you still get like great lessons, and you have to see it like that. Like, maybe in the moment I didn't see it that way because I was directly affected by that every day, but 10 months later, I'm looking back and I'm like, wow, like, I don't need to buy $400 pair of slides when all that shit burned anyways. You know what I mean? Like, that's kind of crazy. Like, now when I think about it, I'm like, damn. Yeah. So it's like all that stuff doesn't matter. Granted, like, these things give you personality and make you you, and that's how you express yourself, what you wear, what you buy, like, all of your possessions are a form of self-expression. So it definitely was like, it sucked that.
It was like a slap in the face.
Yeah, like everything I've worked for, everything my parents have worked for to that moment, like all burned. And yeah, I mean, alhamdulillah. That's all I can say because wow,
You are a true testimony, for real. And during that time, did you start to see people around you true colors? Because, a real tragedy is when you start to see who's really in your corner. Did you start seeing that for yourself?
Yeah, friends, family. Like, I had family call other family and friends to ask how we were doing instead of calling us to see how we were doing, if we needed a place to stay, if we had food, like whatever. They didn't show up. And friends too, people that have known me, like that grew up with me, that spend so much time in the house with me, didn't show up. And then I have a whole like community of strangers going all out for me, like my friends never did. Granted, a lot of my friends did too, but there was a lot of people that didn't, that were expected to do something. I mean, if you didn't have it financially, you do what you can. Like, even just a share, even just a reshare of a GoFundMe, it's free 99, and even that didn't come from some people. So, you know, you always have eye openers when something really bad happens and when something great happens. In those two moments, you see who's there for you. Like, when you're down, who wants to show face, who wants to help you, who's there for you, like supporting you. And when you're up, who's not applauding you, who's not supporting you, who's not happy for you. So it was definitely a big eye opener.
I know you go through that with your business. Like, you started it, what is it, 5 years now?
Yeah, it'll be 5 years.
So when you were just starting out, how was it? Like, you were getting probably more recognition from strangers than the friends that were with you all the time.
Yeah, it was crazy. Like, I had, support always, your greatest support always comes from strangers. And I feel like that stems from, like, people's insecurities. People don't know their truth. They don't like walk in their truth. And so they see someone else like
doing what they essentially would, like, want to have the confidence to do themselves.
Your purpose, basically. And, I knew that very young. Even if I didn't know what it would be, I didn't think I would be doing the things that I'm doing with my business now. Like, in retrospect, I've never imagined the things that I'm doing now to have been possible 5 years ago. But, I knew that this would flourish into something great. And there was a lot of people that supported me. I will never forget, like, the first few followers that I had, or the first few reposts or orders. And also, I'll never forget the friends that didn't even follow. Like, you didn't have to buy anything from me, but even simply just to follow, like, you're watching me repost up my stuff every day.
They're watching though, but they're just not following. And we have these conversations all the time, because now I'm in that position where I'm trying to start something, and it's like, wow, this is what it's like.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they will follow a whole bunch of famous people and repost memes, but the moment you're doing something you're trying to better yourself, it's crickets.
Yep. It's always like that. Like, these people are never gonna see you. And you're reposting up all their stuff, but your homie just started something and you can't, that's where I'm saying like that stems from like insecurity, people being uncertain of themselves. They don't know who they are. And so they see someone else living in their truth and they just, it doesn't resonate with everybody.
Right. Like I told you, I just went through that. Like I thought I was cool with someone. I was like, hey, you haven't followed me. And they go, when you post something that relates to me or that I think I like, then I'll follow.
Yeah, that's
And it's
crazy.
like, I would follow if you had anything. Like if you were talking about dogs, like I would follow it, even though I'm allergic, you know?
Yeah.
But it's just so crazy. You start to see people's true colors when you're trying to do something. But anything negative, probably they would.
Yeah, like the second rappers are beefing, everyone's talking about it. Like irrelevant stuff gets more spotlight than your
Something
friends and
positive.
something positive.
Okay, so let's get into another juice. I almost finished this. This is really good. I think this is one of my favorites now. All right, so what juices are good for digestion?
So I think that all natural fruit and vegetable juices are really good for digestion because it's natural fiber, H3O2, which is hydration that comes from fruit, always helps you digest your foods better, and whatever you have, whatever accumulated plague that you have that you haven't digested, um, there will always be like a juice for that. But I would say out of the ones that I brought today, the best one for digestion is Strawberry Lord. And one of the main ingredients that are very good for digestion is cucumber. Cucumber is very good for like inflammation, bringing down the inflammation of your stomach lining.
Let's try this.
Cheers.
Oh, I love it. You really taste the cucumber.
Yeah, I actually made that juice because I once upon a time didn't have a juice that had cucumbers because I didn't like cucumbers, and I felt like I was being biased, so I had to create something that had this ingredient that I didn't like and make it taste good. So that's like the background behind the Strawberry Lord.
Okay, so I am always very tired. What would you recommend so that way you boost my energy?
Well, definitely like consuming fruits upon like waking up and breaking your fast with fruits is the best thing to help increase your energy because the fruits contain like natural sugars that um, help give you energy. And you know also like cleaning up your diet, eating more vegetables, adding more color to your plate will always benefit you in more ways than you think. Like the moment you start to eat cleaner, you start to digest better. The moment you start to digest better, like once your colon is clean and regulated, they say that like your colon is actually your second brain. So when you're eating garbage, essentially, you're going to feel like garbage too. But when you start to eat clean, all of that starts to improve your digestion, fatigue, insomnia. People can't sleep because of the plague that they have built up. And they always get sick. They have low immunity because of the stuff that they're eating. Iron. People lack oxygen in their body because they're eating things that are causing plague, that are not allowing your blood to properly flow.
Okay. So which one do you have that here today? One that would help?
For immunity would be the elder boost.
Okay.
So elderberry is like a berry that has 3 times more vitamin C than an orange. So it's like one of the best things that you can consume to boost your immunity. Blueberries, all the berries are good for immunity. Ginger has cinnamon. Cinnamon's really good for immunity boosting too.
I like this one too. You really taste the fruits. They're all made a day of?
Yeah, so I make them fresh daily, and I shop local. So my business is established as an LLC, and I do have the resources to buy fruits and vegetables wholesale, but I actually choose to buy everything local and from farmers markets because it has less chemicals and pesticides, and just better quality in general. Like I don't like to buy anything wholesale.
Okay, let's try our last juice here. What is this?
So
Coconut?
the electric chalk, that is actually a new plant-based protein that I launched from an athletic menu. So that drink has 24 grams of protein, and it doesn't have any synthetics, any additional sugars, and your typical protein shake has somewhere between 16 and 25 grams of protein. So
this is a
that will
healthy
do the job.
alternative from a store
Herbalife,
bought.
let's say GNC
Oh,
protein shake.
okay. 24 grams.
And it's light, you know. It's not supposed to be like very sweet. You know, you can kind of taste all the ingredients, like the notes of the ingredients. Has sea moss. So sea moss is also a natural protein. It has 92 minerals out of 102 minerals our bodies are made of. So it's like the best thing to have as an athlete or someone that's trying to get healthier.
I would say out of all of them, this might be my favorite.
Yeah, that's a hit. That's
a
a
hit?
top 3, yeah.
Top 3 seller.
And it's kid friendly too, that one specifically.
Thank you so much. That's a wrap on Imani's Way. First episode. Thank you. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, as well as my friend.